Hey y'all, it's Diane with Shawcraft One and my old barn door, and this is I think the 6th video in my cover to cover making a journal series, and the last video cut off on me and I haven't yet figured out how to do all the technical things with videos, like splice them together. So if anybody wants to make a video on that and share it to me, I'll be glad to watch it. I will totally watch that video because I still have not figured out all of that. You know, I'm too busy making journals to try to figure out all that technical stuff. So anyways, we're going to sew in our signatures. I have all the holes punched in all the signatures, as you can see here. I have the holes punched in the spine of the cover. So then we're just going to start sewing the signatures in. Now I like to use, for the bigger books, I like to use like a hemp cord. You have to have a bigger needle for this. It's okay if you want to use embroidery floss. You can use that. You know, some kind of embroidery floss. Some people use waxed linen. It's just a matter of preference. But I like this just simply because it tends to hold better. Okay, so I'm just going to look over here and find the kind of hemp cord that I want. Okay, so I couldn't find enough of my hemp cord to do all of my signatures and make it match, because I don't have enough of this to do all 6 of them. So I decided that I would use embroidery floss. So you can get this for like, I don't know, less than $1 at Walmart. And so basically what I do is I'm going to start with my last signature. Okay. So I always start from the back of the book and go up. I don't know why. It just seems to turn out better that way. So what I'm going to do is I take my embroidery floss and I just kind of roughly measure the length of my spine. And then I'm going to measure it 2 more times. Well, maybe. Let me just pull that off. So we have basically 3 lengths of the spine. So 1, 2, 3. And of course, again, I don't perfectly measure. Okay? And so then I have a really long needle. These are like doll making needles, but they're easier on my hands. So I'm just going to put my thread in my needle here. Okay, and I kind of pull it a good ways through so that I don't lose my thread. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we have the top facing one direction, and then you want to go in and make sure you have the top of your paper facing that same direction. So you don't want your letters on here to be upside down. So you just want to make sure everything's facing the correct direction. And I'm probably going to try and zoom you in a little bit so that you can see better what I'm doing. Let me see if I can do this. Hang on, I don't want to make you dizzy, but I am going to zoom a little bit. Okay, hopefully you can see that. So the first hole you're going to go into is your center hole. You got 1, 2, 3 holes. You want to go into your center hole. So you're just going to basically thread your needle through all of your pages through the center hole. And I usually just do it one at a time like this. And your signatures are going to get kind of messed up. You know, they're not going to be straightly aligned for a minute, but that's okay. So we're going to go through all of the pieces. Okay, so we have it all lined through. And then we're going to find the center hole on our spine, and we're going to thread through that as well. Okay, and then we're just going to pull through And I always like to leave quite a bit hanging off this end so that I don't lose it. You know, if I pull it all the way through, then I'm like, oh crap. Okay, so you're on this side now. So then you're going to come down here and you're going to find the hole that lines up with this hole. And you're going to go back into it. And make sure you're on the right line, because I have went to the wrong line before and got things all kinds of messed up. Hang on guys, my battery's trying to die on me. Let me see if I can plug it in. Sorry if I shake the camera a little bit. I've done quite a bit of videos. Okay. Now we at least have power. Okay, so we're going to go through this last... Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I suck at this. Okay, so you just want to make sure that you go through the correct hole. Alright, and you're going to push your needle through. And I like to go ahead and pull it through my cover, because it's just a little easier. And you see why I leave an extra tail? Because it's going to pull on this. And if you don't have enough, it'll pull it all the way through, and then you have to start over. Okay, so then we're just going to find our hole down here. And sometimes you have to look inside to see kind of where it's at to be able to find it. And you're just going to start threading your paper one by one onto the needle, just like that. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure you can see what I'm doing while I'm seeing what I'm doing. And see how some of them you won't be able to put, you know, all 3 holes through. But it's close enough. I don't think I went through the right hole on that one. Sometimes you make mistakes and you just kind of play around with it and cover it up. Okay, so you're going to go through all of your pages, and you see how you kind of start losing the end of your thread. So every now and then I'll grab it and pull it back through just to make sure that I don't lose it. Oh, sorry. Okay, so now we have it through all of those. I'm going to pull this out a little bit more, and then you're just going to go ahead and pull it through and line it up. Okay, now I flip my book around, and it's almost like you start over. You're going to go back through the center hole. Okay, so as you're going back through this center hole, you want to make sure that you hold this kind of to the side, because you don't want your needle to go through your other piece of embroidery thread that you already have through there, because it'll mess you up. Okay, so you don't want to cross the laces. Okay, so then you're just going to kind of thread it on each one, and if you leave this a little bit loose, you can kind of see that you're not running it through the other piece of the embroidery thread. Okay, so you just carefully, it's real easy. And if it starts looking like you're getting mixed in, just pull this piece, pull this little tail, just pull it a little tighter, because the more taut it is, the easier it's going to be to run your needle back through this hole without running it through your other piece of embroidery thread. So pull it tight, and then run it through this one, pull it tight, run it through this one, and then you're going to pull it tight again and run it through this one, pull it tight and run it through this one, and then pull it tight and run it through this one. Okay, and then you're going to pull it tight again and run it through your spine. Okay, and then you're going to just pull this on through out the other side. And you don't have to have this tightened up yet, because you want a little room to wiggle. Okay, So I always make sure that my tail is sticking out, so I can usually keep an eye on it and make sure that I haven't lost it through the book, so that I don't have to start my sewing over. Now, what I do with this, because it's hard to go into this end and start trying to pull it through this way, I'm just going to flip this book over this way. Okay? And what that's going to do, it's going to kind of suspend this in the air a little bit, but that's okay. I just kind of hold it with my 2 fingers while I come through here, and I make sure that I'm lined up on my spine correctly so that I go through the correct hole, and don't poke your finger like I just did. And then pull it through. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing that we did on that end, and we're just going to find our hole and go through each sheet. Very simple. And once you get used to doing this, you're going to be able to go a lot faster. I'm just going really, really slow so that you can see what I'm doing. And it just kind of makes it easier. Now, I'm left-handed, so you're going to be probably backwards from me unless you're left-handed too, but it's the same concept. Okay, so you just find that hole and see how I'm not going to be able to get 2 or all 3, but I do have 2. That's why I put some of them on the top and some of them on the bottom. Okay, so we're through to the center, and then we're just going to pull that through. Now that I have it completely through all 3 holes, I don't want to waste this, this tail. So I'm going to pull it through so that I have a little extra, or so that I don't have so much extra. So let me just find it. That's not it. There we go. So I'm going to pull it all the way. Sorry, I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. But see how I'm just pulling it down through there? Okay, so then you have all of this out here. So you're just going to come to the inside. I'm going to pull that back through just a little bit because I want a little bit of the tail. And then just tighten this up. And then come back out here and you pull your bottom piece until that tightens up. And then just pull it on through here until you can feel it tighten up. And you can see it tighten up there as I'm pulling. Okay? Now, sometimes I leave my tails really long. Like, I'll leave them long enough to come up the book and fold over the edge so that I can use them to put beads on. But then sometimes I'm just doing it real simple this time. I'm just going to tie them off in the center and make them really short. Okay, so once you have this through all 3 of your holes, then you just want to go through this, go underneath this one so that you can tie them off. But that gives you a really good hold, and then you just tighten it up a little bit, make sure it's good and taut, and then you just kind of want to double check your spine again and make sure that they're tight. You don't want them, you don't want to have big gaps from in your thread. Okay, so basically you just want to kind of pull it taut, and then you're just going to tie it off. You just tie a little knot in there. Okay, and then I tend to try and get as tight with the knot as I can so that I can make sure that my signature is not going anywhere. It's not going to come untied. So I usually tie 3 times. You can tie 2 if you want, but it just feels a little more secure to me to tie 3, so I usually tie it 3 times. Okay, and then, like I say, you can either leave a piece long enough to dangle over your spine so you can put beads on it, or you can just trim it off. In this case, I'm going to trim it off. So that's how you sew in your signature, and then you just bring the next one over and you start over and you sew it in again. So that's how you sew in the signatures. I'm going to sew in the rest of my signatures, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. Like my video, subscribe, give me some love, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.